Hello everybody, it's AJ of the Mighty Glue Stick. How's it going? You're listening to the TMG channel, and this is a special 2000 subscriber shout out to all of my faithful followers and friends. Thank you very, very much, everyone. It's been an amazing journey so far, and I only am just getting started. So, we've got quite a lot to cover in this video. We are visiting the 600th discovered layer of the Abyss, the realm of Pale Night, in the monstrous beastlands of Baphomet, in the endless maze of Baphomet, I should say, in the Abyss, and the realm which is the origin of the Bebilith, which is the monster that we're going to be focusing on today. The Bebilith is a hunter. It's a demon created by Pale Night to hunt other demons and devils. It's to hunt supernatural things which should not be. Things that have gone out of control, things that threaten reality itself, things that are completely destructive with no other purpose in mind and that cannot be controlled. The Bebilith are sent in originally to kill off some dire threat, the origin which is lost in history. But to this day the Bebilith have basically roamed the plains and particularly the Abyss looking for creatures to hunt, and they will attack anything on sight. The Bebilith itself is a plough horse-sized arachnid horror. It is a killing machine that is so fearsome. It's designed to kill demons. It doesn't inject venom, and it injects a necrotic corruption, a slime that is extremely lethal, and they are devastating in hand-to-hand combat. They're something that you should basically not get involved with because they can rend armor and do horrible damage very quickly. They're enormous arachnid demons. They hunt around all over the Abyss, and you can find them basically anywhere. With legs spanning more than 14 feet, weighs just over 2 tons, and they understand but do not speak Abyssal, but they typically use telepathy, which allows them to communicate silently with one another. They generally don't speak with anyone else unless it's a very threatening dialogue. Typically, they will only communicate when they can't get at something, and they're looking to freak it out so much that it flees, which is when they can take up the chase again. They attack any creature they see, usually picks one target and concentrates all its attacks on that one opponent, using webs to isolate and target its that individual and cut them off from their friends or combat comrades. Should it become overwhelmed by a tougher opponent, it offers attempts to bite one or more of the victims and then retreats, allowing the poison to do its work and cause them to turn their attention from it and focus on saving their companion's life. They are equipped with all sorts of natural weapons. It's got a web attack that it can use in various ways, and I encourage you to not have that set in stone. So it can use the web 4 times per day in a similar way to a net, with a range of about 30 feet, range limits of 10 feet. It can use this against targets up to gargantuan in size, and it anchors them in place, allowing no movement. And it's very tenacious stuff, requiring a strength DC 24 check to escape. They can then burst out of the web and basically flee. The check DCs for its venom are constitution based, and they're similarly awesome. The webs have 14 hit points, basically any small area. So trying to hack a humanoid out of there, you're going to take 14 hit points per round to basically sunder it. And there's a 75% chance that the webbing will not burn if any sort of fire is applied to it, because it's not spiderweb. It's necrotic goo that's been solidified and spread over the area. It's like a resin. They can plane shift, and this affects only the Bebilith, so it can use this similar to the spell. And they have a mottled coloration that gives them +8 bonus to their hide checks, stealth checks. So they're very hard to find. They have a wicked ability to rend armor. If they hit with 2 of their claw attacks, they can pull apart armor worn by the foe. So it does 46 plus 18 points of damage to the opponent to the opponent's armor, typically. In other words, what it does is it basically reduces the armor to nothing. So every time it attacks with this, if it does full damage with both of its limbs, it's essentially opened up the armor like a can of whoop-ass. And it leaves the opponent vulnerable. So creatures not wearing armor are unaffected by this special attack. However, the damage goes straight to them. If you're not interested in applying damage to the armor itself as an object, you could simply say that every 6 points of damage that it does reduces the armor bonus by 1. So a 46 plus 18 is going to rend most armor. So even one hit by these things will rip apart mortal armor that's not magical. If it is magical armor, then say, every 18 points of damage will reduce the armor class by 1, unless it's some sort of legendary suit of armor. I leave it up to your discretion, but it's something fearsome that they do, because they're basically concentrating all their attacks on tearing apart one opponent. And of course, those claw attacks do a similar amount of damage, and they've also got a bite. They're absolutely devastating. 2d6 plus 9, and it's necrotic poison that affects them. They've got dark vision, they've got damage reduction against most forms of attack, aside from possibly psychic or magical types of damage, and they've got no vulnerability to anything else. Telepathy reaches out to about 100 feet, and they can track by scent, by heat signature, by mood, by pheromones, by rumour, by Twitter, by Facebook posts. They are devastating. Anyway, so that's Bebilith for you. They're not really statted out for 5th edition, but they're something which you could put against very high-level opponents. And certainly scare the bejesus out of your higher-level adventures with these things' ability to just basically wreck armor. And they're extremely quick. They can outpace most things on the ground, and they've got well over 150 hit points. And their speed is 40 feet, and they can climb at about 20 feet as well. Not that fast, but they can climb over most surfaces. And they can survive underwater quite happily as well, and in most hostile conditions. And of course, they are chaotic evil and solitary. So the Bebilith were created originally by Pale Knight, and Pale Knight is a Oberith. As discussed in my previous video, the Oberith are some of the earliest creatures in the D&D universe, and Pale Knight is particularly important and a good starting off point because she is one of the architects of the entire tanar'ri race. The demon kind is basically her idea, where she was populating the abyss with replicas of the type of creatures that lived in the original universe that the Oberith came from. And so they are chaotic, they are destructive, nihilistic, and very, very dangerous. And Pale Knight essentially created the template for them. They are modified greatly by other demon lords, but Pale Knight has a well-deserved reputation and moniker as the mother of demons. So she is an abyssal lord, both enigmatic and unbelievably ancient. So she's listed in the Fiendish Codex, Horde of the Abyss, and so she's a member of the original demonic race called the Oberiths that existed before the tanar'ri or the other demons did. She appears as an incorporeal form that looks like an empty flowing white shroud with a suggestion of a shapely female form underneath. However, this is an illusion that our minds place across the veil that she wears, a psychic veil, because any creature that witnesses her true form will undoubtedly go insane. She is incredibly hideous, and reality itself rejects her appearance. So she's so hideous and terrifying that she warps reality itself, and so she wears this shroud to hide it. To glimpse Pale Knight's true form, basically will be a whatever type of sanity check with a very, very, very high DC. Otherwise, your character's mind will basically shut it down, and at best you can hope for is to slip into a catatonic state for a little while, basically get knocked out, and at worst you're going to have some sort of lasting psychotic break, or some sort of hallucinations, or some sort of breakdown that causes you to see horrific things in ordinary objects. And at best, you're probably going to see people around you as decaying hunks of organic rot. You're never going to be able to appreciate beauty again because everything will be seen as fleeting. And at worst, you'll never be able to taste or smell or hear joy or pleasure ever again. Everything will appear rotten, diseased, and foul, and twisted, warped, mutated, and generally disgusting. So it'll mess you up bad. Ancient texts claim that Pale Night is the mother of Graz'zt, Lupercio, and Fuseric in chains. If she is indeed the mother of Graz'zt, she would be the grandmother of Luz, and possibly the mother of Graz'zt. Graz'zt? I can't pronounce it. I don't know, it's got lots of X's and Y's in it. Text makes the bold claim that the entire tanar'ri race was descended from her in some way. So that could either be directly, or she could have formed a living portal that drew the souls of former denizens of the previous universe. So the essence of other Oberths were given form in the chaotic nature of the abyss, so that they're actually bound to the plane itself and generated spontaneously out of raw demonic energy. This is why the tanar'ri are essentially a churning maelstrom of energy which is exchanged between them, and they can sometimes spontaneously generate out of the mains, who are the bubbling morass of evil that is the biogenic spawn of the plane itself. So it's a nightmare of mutagenic energy that feeds upon itself and generates more complex forms out of itself, and she basically kicks the entire thing off. She lives in a bone castle that sits on a vast plateau in the endless maze of Baphomet on the 600th discovered layer of the abyss. She has a strong alliance with Baphomet, the prince of beasts, and has lived in this layer since long before he became a demon lord. They don't work together, but each will defend each other's home from assault in a mutual pact. Pale Night's castle looks like a giant grasping hand that is guarded by ambulatory bones and appendages. It's basically a sea of bone golems. She rarely leaves the castle. It's said that those who stumble into her domain become the new guardians of it. So they are killed and their bones are reanimated, stripped of flesh and reanimated to become essentially demonic topiary, or undead topiary, I should say. Pale Night rules also the 471st discovered layer of the abyss called Andrin. Long ago, by guile and trickery, she trapped a whole generation of Eladrin children, so that's Fey elves, in her lair with the intent of hunting them down one by one at her leisure. Since then, the lair has become a battlefield between the forces of the demoness and the celestials that have come to protect their children. So it's a realm of the abyss which is, I guess you could say, bordered by some sort of celestial realm, or it has a link to a celestial realm through some sort of a portal, and it has become basically a battleground. But little is known about that. Worshippers of Pale Night are rare. Most of them are malevolent spellcasters obsessed with creating new breeds of half-fiends to unleash to the world. It is through Pale Night's whatever text or information they can track down about Pale Night that gives them a very deep and dangerous understanding of demons. Too easy is it for them to summon demons into the world with even a modicum of the knowledge that they gain from understanding Pale Night's activities, or even the vast history that they can track down on her activities throughout time. It's maddening for a mage to realize the incredibly ancient influence that Pale Night has on things. In fact, they can fall into a trap of a perpetual rabbit hole that just goes on and on and on and deeper and deeper and deeper and more entwined with evil and darkness. And yeah, it can lead them on a very, very intoxicating ride to their own doom. And they will drag down everything with them in this attempt to find out the truth, this ultimate conspiracy that that evil has its own mother. Pale Knight herself is enigmatic. She really communicates to anyone. She is basically reclusive, and as a being, she doesn't have the normal motives of a mortal. She's eternal. She's seen the entire universe grow and go through endless cycles of growth and destruction around her, and has retired from it. And she's really only interested in recreating the world that she left behind long, long ago. And it's a constant displeasure with the tanar'ri as they are, and particularly the martial bent they've been drawn into through the Blood War, which has gone on for a very, very long time with the devils, and something that she's not very happy about. She will be satisfied when the entire universe is essentially drawn into the abyss, and she can remake it into the home that she left behind, her version of perfection. Because all mortal creatures of the D&D universe are freaks to her eyes. Yeah. So that's the layer for you. It's while she does occupy a vast plateau, it doesn't really do it justice as an environment. First of all, you have to get through the beastlands of Baphomet. So imagine it's a hell jungle. Every single type of natural wild environment is absolutely choked with predators. There's nothing but vast, dire predatory species that do nothing but churn around in their environments, constantly snapping and biting and clawing and attacking each other in an endless fight for supremacy amongst predators. Everyone is both predator and prey. And every single one of these creatures is a maximum size, giant, freakish, like the biggest crocodile you've ever seen, or some sort of dire cave bear, or it's basically Skull Island, King Kong, and all of the trimmings that go with it. So the Beastlands is a grinder, a biological death trap. It's a grinder of an environment, extremely noxious and deadly, and that's before you even get to the endless maze and then the bone plateau above it. So the endless maze of Baphomet is exactly what it sounds like. It's like a huge stone maze, maze runner style, with shifting walls and all sorts of traps and madness in there, and hideous creations and demons that Pale Knight is basically birthing into existence as she seeks demonic perfection. So just the weirdest kind of looking demons, and demons that you've never seen before, that share a lot of the maddening forms of the Obrith themselves, are unleashed into the maze, basically to try them out and test them out. So in a controlled environment, they are the rats in her maze, and she's experimenting on them to make sure that they are worthy. Those that aren't are essentially hunted down by the Bebilith, which are also in the maze. So there's a couple of other things that you have to worry about before you even get to the Bone Plateau. Then you get to the Bone Plateau. It's a dry, desolate environment of basically desiccated destruction. Nothing to eat or drink. And all of the bones and things that are crunching along, like the ground is a bone dust beneath your feet. A regolith of calcified bone. And every single structure that you see, walls and paths and something that looks like a tree, are all bone, and it's all animated and can come alive at any second and pierce you and tear you to shreds. And then when your bones are the howling winds and dry dust strip the flesh away from you, your bones join in this wonderful landscape of animated death. And then of course you get to the castle itself, and who knows what's inside there. I certainly don't. I wouldn't go there if you paid me. So that's really up to you, whatever is inside the Bone Castle and the of course, the presence of pale night there is every kind of nightmare covered in a shroud. So that's the 600th layer for you. That's the Bebilith, and that is Pale Night. Thanks for listening, everybody, and I'll be back again soon. Mighty Glue Stick is also on Patreon. Check it out in the channel links. For only $1 per month, you gain access to all of the exclusive content that is created for Patreon subscribers only.